Oh, this one's very true too. The trust the science crowd. Journalists usually have very weak science background and just reprint what they're told, not knowing enough to question things like Theranos BS. Absolutely. It's all appeal to authority. That's another problem that I have with the current media landscape. So, like the direwolf thing is a great example of this. I cannot tell you how many stories came through. They said, that didn't actually bring back the direwolf. Some guy somewhere said it's not a direwolf. Man. Okay. So, how do we know the direwolf exists? How do we know it's not fantasy? How do we know it's a real thing? We found the bones. All right, so you find the bones. You look at the bones. What do the bones tell you? They have morphological characteristics. You look at the bones. They're this way. This is a direwolf skeleton versus a dog skeleton, a wolf skeleton, gray wolf. Pick something like that. Okay. We have DNA. Do we have complete DNA for the direwolf? No. We have partial DNA for the direwolf. Enough to kind of roughly know, but not enough to do a full end-to-end genome sequence like I've done on myself, for example. Okay. So you bring back an animal, and the first question you have is you just take the incomplete DNA, you clone it. Well, if you do, you bring back ancient viruses, and also the imperfections in the DNA sample you have will cause terrible birth defects. It'll be blind and deaf and have all kinds of problems, and it's maladapted to the environment that we live in. Where do you get your adaptations from? Through evolution, okay? Natural selection. So you take a gray wolf, you take the genes of concern that make you look and act like a dire wolf, you move those genes over into a gray wolf's genome, and then when it comes out, the bones are the same. If it dies next to a bunch of dire wolves, and there's 4 dire wolves and one of these weirdo transgenic GMO wolves, you know what? You know what they're going to say as a paleontologist? I found 5 dire wolves. If that wolf wandered off into a dire wolf pack, you know what happened? It would be part of the pack and breed with them. And you wouldn't be able to tell the difference at all. And any variations would be just, they assume regional variations inside the genome. So what would you have us do? Bring back blind, deaf, kind of sort of dire wolves based on a clone of an incomplete genome, and also have ancient viruses that are integrated in their genome come out and affect other wolves? Or would you like us to bring something that's modernized and adapted for the environment that we're in? But then the media sees this thing and they say, it's not a direwolf. Yeah, direwolf. Yeah. Even though it looks exactly like a direwolf, it acts exactly like a direwolf. It has the bone structure of a direwolf. It has all the genes of concern for a direwolf. It has the bite strength of a direwolf. I mean, what the fuck are we doing here, guys? This is just madness. It's almost like people say a synthetic diamond's not a diamond. The diamond industry tried to convince people this because diamonds are pretty common. And what De Beers did is they created artificial scarcity, and they slow drip them out into the marketplace so they have a high price. And then they convince everybody to go and buy diamonds for their wives, you know, for when they get engaged. Okay, then people can make a diamond in a lab. You look at it, a lab-made diamond and a diamond you get from a kimberlite pipe are the same. So what the diamond industry did is they first said cubit zirconia is lab-made diamond, and that's a lie. It's a different stone. Molecularly, it's different. The lab-made diamond is the same as the diamond that you have. In fact, in many cases, they're superior to the diamonds that you find in nature. They have less impurities, and it's easier to control the impurities inside of the structure. And by the way, there's no blood on them, and there's no cartels associated with them, and it's much more sustainable of a business model, and you can make them anywhere. It's a much better stone. And also you can dope them with different materials that change the color, like nitrogen and oxygen and these things, and it makes it yellow and blue and so forth. So it's the same with the dire wolves. And they think, oh, what about conservation? And you say, oh, well, okay, well, think it through. It's global warming, global warming, global warming, global warming, global warming, climate change, climate change, climate change, climate change. Okay, what are the consequences of climate change? Everything's going to go extinct. Okay. So can we stop it? No. Why? Because the world can't work together. Russia can't work with China, can't work with America. So what grand treaty are we going to get? Are we just all going to go live in mud huts and turn off power and reject modernity and return to 1750? It's not going to happen. So we have to accept, because we can't coordinate and because we're not going to reject modernity, that we're going to get climate change. And climate change will do what? It will drive 1/3 or more of all species in the world extinct. So if we can modernize and update their genomes, we can make species adapted to the new environment so they don't go extinct. The Great Barrier Reef, all the corals get bleaching. So if we change it just a little bit, it can adapt to the new ocean temperatures and it doesn't go bleach, and we still keep the Great Barrier Reef. So what do you want to do instead? You just wanted to go bleached and have no Great Barrier Reef, and the great grandfather can talk to his great grandson and say, well, when I was a kid, I scuba dived and it was beautiful, and now it's all gone. Is that literally what we want? So this direwolf thing literally solves that problem. By modernizing the genome and then putting the characteristics we want, what you can do is de-extinct species that have gone extinct as a result of the Anthropocene, the actions of man. And then you can adapt to where the world is going, not where it's at today, so that they're always around for the next generation thereafter. And then, the other thing is you can have adult conversations about how do we redo this in a way that fits the environment that we're in. If you're going to have 10 billion people, you have to make some compromises about what the wildlife is going to look like. And that's a governance conversation in the global commons. And if you have a new tool set, it's neutral to that governance conversation. We can make purple wolves, we can make blue wolves, we can make tall wolves, and we can make small wolves. We can do anything you want. You just have to tell us what to do. But then you have these journalists with absolutely no science background, or very minimal, running around, and their goal is whenever anything is reported that's interesting and fascinating and new, they have to be the devil's advocate. And I guess it's their job to call truth to power and say the thing that we just saw doesn't exist. The thing that we just saw didn't happen, or it didn't happen is good. Imagine how fucked up the life will be. It's like you have this amazing coffee, and they're like that Saturday Night Live character, Debbie Downer, where they're like, well, it's expensive coffee. And it's like, well, I just got an A+ on the test, but you didn't get 100%. I just got into University of Colorado Medical School, but it wasn't Harvard. These people, you encounter them. No matter where you go, what you do, those people are always negative about everything. This is a great human accomplishment. It's the first time in human history that a species that died off about 13,000 years ago, if not longer, has been resurrected. People are holding in their hands that proto-humans held before civilization. And it's here. And now we've unlocked all these magical possibilities about where we can go and what we can do. And it brightens the future, because we can talk about all these fantastical and mystical things that are extensions of our personality and our creativity, and things that no longer have as many problems. Like people have designer dogs, they breed dogs. Well, sometimes dogs have hip dysplasia or heart problems or hearing problems or jaw problems because of the way they've been bred. What if you can have a dog that looks that way, but it doesn't have those problems? That's a magical thing, and it's a cool thing. And yeah, it has to be treated with responsibility. So the conversation should be governance. The conversation should be, how do we as a society come together and responsibly use this technology instead of you didn't do it? It's the same in medicine. The consciousness stuff too. Simulpinski, or whatever the hell his name is, that professor in Berkeley who shoots monkeys with blow darts. We have no free will. Everything's deterministic. Consciousness only comes from one little structure in the brain. When you die, that's it. What about all this quantum stuff? It's all made up. Doesn't exist. What about like remote viewing and telepathy and all this other stuff that we're starting to discover? No, that exists. The only thing that exists is what I measure in my lab, and everything else is wrong. Rah! Why live in that world? It's so terrible. Live in a world of imagination. And if you don't like it, create it. Go fully within. Sapolsky, yeah, that guy. He was on Rogan, the monkey guy.